Hello everyone, welcome to the Daily Morning Podcast. Now let's see how the market have done on the Tuesday's date. Sensex was down by 0.25%, settling it at 74,482. Nifty was down by 0.17%, settling at 22,604. Nifty Midcap 100 has remained positive at 0.07% and Nifty Small Cap 100 has remained negative by 0.04%. Now let's look at the gainers and losers of Nifty 50. The gainers are Power Grid, Shriram Finance, Bajaj Auto, IndusInd Bank, Grasim, Eicher Motors, Tata Consumer, Tata Motors. And the losers are Tata Steel, Sun Pharma, BPCL, TCS, Kotak Bank, Hindalco, Infosys and ICICI Bank. Now let's look at the sector-wise performance. BSE Auto was the highest gainer at 1.7%, followed by BSE Realty by 1.4%, BSE Power by 1.04%, BSE Consumer Discretion by 0.9%, while BSE IT was the highest loser at 0.98%, followed by BSE Oil and Gas has declined by 0.85%, BSE Metal has declined by 0.85%. Now let's look at the 52 weeks high and low. 155 stocks have scaled 52 weeks high, including AB Capital, Axis Bank, Bank of India, Cochin Shipyard, Havells, Shakti Pumps and Siemens, while 11 stocks are trading at 52-week low. Now let's look at the market breadth. 1804 stocks had advances, while 2014 stocks have declines. Now let's look at the fund flow. FI and DI were both net buyers to the tune of 1017 crore and 1429 crores. Now let's look at the global cues. Dow has ended up on a positive note at 0.23% positive. Nasdaq has declined by 0.33%. S&P has declined by 0.34%. The global cues look supportive. The US ended on a mixed note as Fed has kept its policy rate unchanged at 5.25% to 5.5%. The Fed do not expect any rate cut until inflation shows a 2% trajectory. The slowdown in pace of the balance sheet reduction by cutting the treasury redemption cap to $25 billion from current $60 billion per month is positive. The Asian market are trading at a higher value while US market are showing upstick. We expect a great start for our market today. Now let's look at the auto sales number. Maruti auto sales has grown by 5% on a year-to-year basis and declined by 10% on a month-to-month basis. Eicher Motors, TVS Motors and Hero Corp has reported strong numbers. Eicher Motor has grown by 12% on a YOY basis and 8% on a month-to-month basis. TVS Motors two-wheeler has grown by 27% on a year-to-year basis and 9% on a month-to-month basis. Hero Motor has grown by 35% on a year-to-year basis and 9% on a month-to-month basis. Atul Auto has also registered a strong growth of 137% on a year-to-year basis, while VST Taylor Tractors has declined by 46% on a year-to-year basis. Now let's look at the results. India Mart Intermesh. The revenue was up 17% to 315 crores, EBITDA was up 33% to 88 crores and net profit was up 78% to 100 crores. The result has remained positive. Havells India. The revenue was up 12% to 5,442 crore. EBITDA margin has expanded by 81 basis points to 11.66%. Net profit was up 25% to 447 crores. This remains positive for Havells India. Sona BLW Precision. Revenue was up by 19% to 884 crore. EBITDA was up by 23% to 248 crore and margin was up by 93 basis points to 28.05%. Net profit was up by 23% to 148 crore. The overall result remained very positive. Castrol India. Revenue was up 2% to 1325 crores. EBITDA was up 1.1% to 294 crores. Margin was down by 28 basis points and net profit was up 7% to 216 crore. The result has remained neutral. Gravitas India. Revenue was up 15% to 863 crore. Margin was down by 11% and net profit was up 8% to 69 crore. It has reported a neutral set of number. Vedant Fashion. Revenue was up 6% to 363 crore. EBITDA was up 4.28% to 175 crore. Margin was down 93 basis points to 48.2% and profit was up 6% to 116 crore. It has reported a decent set of performance. Adani Total Gas. Revenue was up by 5% to 1167 crore. EBITDA was up to 47% to 288 crore. Margin was up by 717 basis point to 24.68%. Net profit was up 71% to 168 crore. It has reported a strong set of numbers. Indus Tower revenue was up 6.5% to 7,193 crores. EBITDA was up by 19% to 4,103 crores, and margins were up 599 basis point to 57.3%. Net profit was up by 32% to 1,853 crore. This remains positive for the stock. Adani Energy Solution. Net profit was up 9% to 381 crore. Revenue was up 3% to 4,706 crore. It has reported a neutral set of numbers. Neogen Chemicals. Revenue was up to 199 crore, down by 2.1%. Profit stood at 16 crore, up 18.3%. This has reported a positive set of numbers. Ambuja Cement. The revenue was up 12% to 4,780 crores. EBITDA stood at 797 crores, up 1.2%. Profit stood at 532 crores, up 5.9%. It has reported a decent set of numbers. Orient Cement. Revenue was up 1.3% to 888 crores. Net profit stood at 868 crores, up 1.2%. It has reported a neutral set of numbers. Adani Wilmar. Revenue was up 5% to 13,238 crore. Net profit was up 67% to 156 crore. This has remained positive for the stock. Green Panel Industries. Revenue was down by 10% to 396 crore, and profit was down by 56% to 29 crores. It has reported a negative set of numbers. Adani Power. The revenue stood at 13,336 crore, up 30%. EBITDA stood at 4,849 crores, and profit stood at 2,737 crores, down by 47%. It has reported a mixed set of numbers. Today we have results of Adani Port, Adani Enterprise, Coal India, Dabur India, Federal, Coforge, K Industries, KPR Mills, Ajanta Pharma, Blue Star, CE Automotive, Blue Dart Express, Ramakrishna Forging, Railtel Seat, Voltam Transformers, South Indian Bank, Ugro Capital, Aztec Life Science, and JBM Auto. Now let's look at the stock news. The Godrej family is set to split the 127-year-old conglomerate into two branches. Adi and Nadir Godrej will keep the Godrej Industries with its 5 listed companies, while the cousin Jamshed Godrej and Smita Krishna will receive the unlisted Godrej and Boyce. This remains neutral for the stock. Jindal Stainless. The company has announced plans to invest 5,400 crore across 3 major organic and inorganic capacity expansion decisions. This remains positive for the stock. BSE. The company has revised the equity derivative transaction from May 13. This remains neutral for the stock. Wipro. The company has received a multi-millionaire dollar deal with Nokia to overhaul the employee service desk. This remains positive for the stock. Railway Vikas Nigam. The company emerged as the lowest bidder for the construction project of 391 crore. This remains positive for the stock. Pradeep Phosphates. The Central Pollution Board has conditionally revoked the closure of the Odisha plant for 90 days from April 29. Accordingly, the plant will resume its operation shortly. This remains positive for the stock. Mishra Dhatu Nigam. The company has received an order worth of 139 crore. This remains positive for the stock. Now let's look at the block deals. Nirnol Albula Investment sold 30 lakh shares to the tune of 3.32%, while Lotus Global Investment bought 3.78 lakh shares. ICICI Prudential bought 33.78 lakh shares at 430 apiece. Now let's look at the bulk deals. Cartetrek CMDB2 sold 3.75 lakh shares amounting to 0.8% stake at 700.15 per piece. SBFC Finance Arput Capital sold 1.1 crore shares at 88 rupees per piece. Arput Partner Investment sold 4.15 crores shares at 88, while Custody Bank of Japan Ari Mundi India Small Cap Equity Mother Fund bought 1.13 crore shares at 88 per piece. Morgan Stanley Asia Singapore bought 68.74 lakh shares at 88 per piece. SBI Mutual Fund bought 1.93 crore shares at 88 per piece. Now let's look at the corporate action. 361 has a record date of dividend today. That's it for today. Thank you for listening.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.